Hi there, it's Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts. Happy to have you here. Welcome to my website if this is where you're seeing the video. Hello to YouTube if that's where you found me. I will put a link in the descriptions for YouTube to the blanket that I'm going to be showing you how to make today, which is the mixed cluster stitch baby blanket. It is 36 by 36. It's a pretty good size, and I made it with Patton's Alpaca Blend yarn, which has such a nice finish and really beautiful look to it. And I think you're going to really like learning this stitch. I've tried to simplify it so that the sides will stay straight fairly easily, and there's not too many steps that you'll have to learn in order to turn it. It's just mainly memorizing the stitch to get you going. Okay, so I am going to give you a tip that I really want you to try. I'd love for you to work a swatch in a yarn that is your favorite that can come undone quickly and nicely. That is the one thing with Alpaca Blend when you work with it. I don't know, it probably because of the fibers and how soft it is, but it is not a good yarn to undo if you make a mistake. You're going to want to be really confident with the pattern before you start using this yarn. And because it's like what I'm calling affordable luxury, it is a little bit higher priced yarn, maybe $7 or $8 a skein, and hopefully you'll be able to get it on sale somewhere. But it probably due to the alpaca in it, but it is like a wool. They're really hard to undo. So if you make mistakes, I don't want you to waste on the yarn. So promise me you'll do a practice swatch and learn this stitch and how to turn the blanket so that then you can just sail through your project. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I don't think so. Okay, let's get started. All you're going to do is chain a multiple of 3 for your base chain. So 1, 2, 3, I'm going to do 12, and I think that'll get us a good start. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can make this blanket as bigger or smaller as you wish. And just make sure it's a multiple of 3. So all I'm going to do, we're going to work the very first row in all single crochet. So in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to work my first stitch underneath those first 2 loops. For me, it's just my preferred way to do the base chain. You are free to do your preferred way. A lot of people go into the bumps on the back of the chain. Some people just go under that top loop. It's up to you. I prefer to go under the kind of right in the center of the stitch and under the 2 loops. I like the finish, how that works, and then when I go back and do the border all in single crochet, I work in between the stitches, and I like that look. So it's completely up to you how you're going to do that. Okay, so here we are at the end, and hopefully, if I've done this right, I actually should have 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now in that first stitch from the hook, the last single crochet that you made, those very first loops, not the chain 2s, you are going to work a half of a double crochet, meaning just yarn over and pull through 2 loops and stop right there. Now you're going to yarn over, skip the next stitch, and go into the next one, and pull up a loop and just work through 1 of those loops. Then you're going to yarn over, insert your hook right back into that same stitch, yarn over and pull through 1 loop again. And now you have 6. Pull through all of them, chain 1, and you are almost done. That was like the baby half over here to get you started. Now here's how, I guess you'll finish it in that place. Go right back into that same stitch and do the half of a double crochet. Now we will skip the next stitch and go into the next, and we're going to work that second half of the stitch with the bigger cluster. So I guess that's a really pretty good name for this stitch, the mixed cluster, because we're just working it kind of across 3 stitches, closing it up. So here's your stitch that you finished over here, but it's kind of like a part of that one to get going to the next one. Go through 2, skip, go through 1, yarn over, go through 1, get your 6 loops, and pull back through all of them and do a chain 1 to close. Now, we're almost to the end of the row here. Hopefully, I know you're going to probably want to watch this a couple times. It did take me a while to just get into the rhythm of this stitch. Lots of little loops to learn here. Chain 1. Okay, so we are at the very end of the row, and it's going to end just a tiny bit differently. And this is where you're going to sub. Okay, so here we go. You're going to work that half double crochet. You're still going to skip 1, and you're still going to finish that cluster. Pull through 1, pull through 1, and you are going to finish it all the way up. Here's what's different. I am not going to chain and close the loop. I am going to work a double crochet right into the same stitch. So I will yarn over. I'm going to go right into that hole, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to work through 2, and I'm going to stop right there because we're going to change colors. Let me get my peony already here, and I'm going to simply lay the new color over the hook and pull through. You're going to give that just a tiny tug, pull that over. It all kind of works out when you get going. And I'm going to not cut this off. This will be running up the side. This saves you time on weaving in ends later, and I also believe it gives you a little bit more secure blanket, especially with baby blankets that get, transported a lot, hopefully used a lot. We don't want those ends to come undone, even if they're woven in really well. Okay, so here we are. We're going to work 1 complete row of single crochet back across the top of these loops. Now here's where the number 11 is important, is because you want to make sure you have 11 single crochets going back across, and make sure you don't miss one. But that's just, the number 11 is just specific to this swatch. You will have your own number of however long you chained. So here we go. We're going to work a single crochet right in that big loop, and don't worry, it does all work out. When you pull that down, you don't end up with a big giant loop right there. It'll work out. Here's number 2, 3, 4. So you kind of find some of them are tight little loops, some aren't. That you're working into every other. Make sure you hit that, that space that closed up the loop, and then the half double crochet that came across. And here we are at the end. Oh my gosh, did I get this wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where's the 11th one going to go? It is going to go right in the top of that turning chain. Okay? That's going to be tricky. Don't miss that. Don't miss that at the end. Otherwise, your blanket will start going in and being too small, and you'll miss a stitch. Here's another thing that I want you to keep track of, just until you really get this blanket going, is go ahead and go back now and count how many clusters you've made. So for this particular row now, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I kind of know, okay, well, that was a half one, whatever. You'll know from that side of the blanket. But keep an eye on that number, because this number sometimes gets hard to count too. But just until you know it, that's how you will keep this straight. Okay, I'm chaining 2 up the side. Let me get some slack here. And let me work this cluster stitch again for you across. Okay, so I just changed you right in that first stitch. I'm going to work that half of a double crochet. I'll skip, and I'm going to go through 1, go through 1, pull through all of them and chain. Here we go. Pull through 1. And chain. Hopefully you are this. It's another reason why I like swatches, especially when you're learning a new stitch. No matter, it just will, you want to get all that stuff worked out. Plus you want to make sure that you're using the right hook size and that you like what the hook size is doing for you. Is your blanket too tight, too loose? Sometimes I've noticed, as I've taught my girls how to crochet, a beginner person's tension is really quite loose, and so a K-hook might be way too big for you. You might be okay with something smaller. Okay, so here I am. I am not going to close up that loop. I'm going to do a double crochet, and I am going to grab this yarn that I left down there and pull it up and start using it. I will chain 1. Okay, so I didn't close up that loop. Kind of work out the ends, get it so they're coming up, the loops get closed. Play with it just a little bit. Much easier to do that than go back and weave in all these ends for this blanket. I don't like the tension of that. There we go. I'm going to pull that a little tighter. And here I am. I'm on my single crochet rows again. And making sure that I will have 11. And making sure that my last stitch of the row is into the top of that turning chain. And it's okay with me if you want to cheat. Sometimes I do if I get in a hurry. If you just go right in that hole. If that turning chain just gets too tight on you. Okay. Look, over and over. I guess I'll finish this row for you. Let you see. Carry up the side again. It's really looking pretty. I love this stitch. I have another pattern on my blog. It's this same essential stitch, but it's for a cowl, so it is worked a little bit differently on the ends. I want it to be just a little bit more particular on going up the sides of this blanket, and so I had to tweak it just a little bit. But I have made it with scarfy yarn using this stitch, and it is gorgeous. And then that way you don't ever change yarn colors. The yarn does all the color changing for you if you use that yarn. And it is a wonderful, really nice yarn. The scarfy. Okay. Here we go. Okay, are you going to remember what to do right here? This might just really don't forget, because you don't want to add in a stitch. So no closing the loop with a chain. Go right back in here and do a double crochet and then pull through with your pink. Okay? That is it. That is the mixed cluster. And you're going to love it. You're going to love how it turns out. Okay. I will put in the pattern notes though, but I'll just tell you really quickly how I did do a round of single crochet is that I decided to work 3 single crochet per side. So it's always tricky as to where you're going to put your single crochets when you're running down the side of the blanket. So as long as you can kind of get one here, maybe one there, roughly 3. You don't want too many because then it will gather on the side and it will kind of give you that rippled look. And here, maybe I'll just show you on this blanket what I mean. I did a round of in the birch color first, and you can see how I just kind of worked. That's the corner, right? Well, corner up there, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just kind of keep going with that pattern on down the side. And then this is my end where I'm saying where I started, and I went in between the single crochets on that. And I think that gave it a really nice look. I always work 3 single crochets in the corners. You can see that. And so when I go back around, I will work the single crochet into the middle stitch right there. So anyway, I really hope that you are successful with your blanket. It's going to be gorgeous. There's not much I did to finish it. To finish this out, I didn't even spray block it. You can hand wash it and lay it flat to dry, but gosh, just playing with it did some natural blocking and made it straight and pretty, and I really liked that. So, okay, that is enough from me today. Thank you so much for coming to my website and watching my tutorial. I really hope it's helpful. Come find me on Instagram and be my crochet friend there. And you can watch me create as I go. That's just made this pattern up last week, and hopefully I'll just keep making baby blankets in hopes I'll be a grandma. That's kind of my whole goal. Okay, thanks, bye.